One of the things that I found intriguing about your process the whole time, because I've known you while you were writing this and while you were acquiring it, it doesn't fit neatly into a single book category.
Right.
And I think people will be interested in how that complicated the process of bringing it to publication. Not only when you were looking for an agent, but also in figuring out how and who to target it towards.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the areas where I had some problems when I was trying to pitch it, trying to query it.
I should probably say up front, it's both a naval adventure and a fantasy, and a really classic fantasy, too. But the same agents seldom represent both.
Right.
And there's this idea that in the publishing industry that I don't think is completely true, that readers specialize much more than they do. I know people who read both naval fantasies and or both naval adventure and fantasy, but I think it was hard for agents to see that reader when they looked at
because I had
query.
several agents that would tell me it's a great book.
Yeah.
I really like the concept, but how do I market it?
Yeah.
That was the big thing. And it was kind of like if I pitched it as naval adventure. Let's back up on that. Let's say several years ago I entered not only in a contest here at PNWA, but in another contest south of here. And one of them, I think here I entered, not this book, but actually the second one, as mainstream.
Really?
And I had a lot of nice comments about it until they got to the point of the fantasy aspect of it. And they were saying, well, people that buy this as a traditional naval adventure, Age of Sail story, are going to be a little upset when they discover the fantasy.
Yeah, because they expected the fantasy on page one, but that runs against your premise.
Right. Although I think in the second book, the fantasy aspect is brought into it a little bit more at the beginning. Because it's kind of the opposite of this, and without trying to give anything away, in the second book, they are returning to this world, to England in probably 1805 by that time. So it starts out in that other world, and it's a continuation. Probably the one biggest comment I've had from people that have read it is, when's the sequel coming out?
I would expect that.
Yeah.
I would expect that.
Because it's one of these things where I probably could have saved it and put them both out at the same time. I could have changed the ending in this one. I could have continued it on a little bit. I could have backed it up a little bit. But I was at that basically 100,000 word limit, and I chopped it off. It was kind of like the remarks they used to make about the British Navy at that time. So they built their ships by the mile and just cut them off as needed.
Like a bolt of fabric.
Yeah.